Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another podcast powered by Grow Junction. I, Rituparna Bhaumik, will be the host for the day, and today we have with us Mr. Virendra Agarwal, Assistant Branch Manager at ITC Ltd, and also an alumni of MDI Gurugram. Hello, Virendra, how are you?
Hi Ritu, I'm fine. Thank you for hosting me in this podcast.
Yeah, the pleasure is all mine. So before we begin, can we have a small intro about you?
Sure, Ritu. So let me introduce myself. First of all, my name is Virendra Agarwal. I am from Jaipur, Rajasthan. Currently, I am in Lucknow for my job. Right. So basically, I've been born and brought up in Rajasthan. I'm from Jaipur. And after that, I did my schooling from various places because my parents used to work in a job where my father used to get transferred a lot. So I've lived in various cities across India. So I've lived in Jaipur, I've lived in Kota, I've lived in many cities of UP like Kanpur, Lucknow. Then I've done my computer science engineering from SRM University, Chennai. So I've lived there in Chennai for 4 years.
Mm,
Then after my engineering, I also did my 2 years of job in Unilever from Bangalore. So I've lived in Bangalore. After that, I've done my MBA from MDI Gurugram. So I've also then lived in Gurugram, and now currently
mm.
I'm pursuing my job as an assistant sales manager. So branch manager, sales manager, it's the same thing. So I'm the assistant sales manager for ITC Limited now. Right now I'm based out of Lucknow.
Right, great.
Right?
Yeah. So you've traveled many places, right? So, uh,
Yes.
yeah. So is there any special impact which any place had on you or on your career, likewise?
So yes, actually, very much. So basically, I have for my 11th and 12th, like most of the people who are pursuing engineering do. I have I went to Kota. I studied in Bansal classes for 2 years. Right, I
Mm,
prepared for my IIT JEE coaching there. So that place had a lot of impact on me because those 2 years of struggle where you don't go to school, you just study day and night from 9 o'clock in the morning to 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock of the night, right? So those
mm,
12 hours of study along with coaching classes, that was something that I loved doing. Also, it was very difficult also to do, and ultimately I was not able to also crack IIT JEE. So that was a very influential factor in my overall career. That after studying for 2 years and something you want to achieve in life, you are not able to do that. Then how do you overcome it? How do you get better? And how do you move on? Right. So Kota has a
mm,
special place in my heart. So that those years were very close to my heart. Apart from that, even for my engineering, I went to Chennai, so even that was great. Finding a new place, exploring south of India, new language, new culture, new food, living in hostel, triple sharing boys hostel. You know how those places are like, boys
yeah.
hostel. So enjoying there, then moving to Bangalore, seeing the beautiful weather of Bangalore, right? Going to pubs, bars, seeing the nightlife kind of. So I've actually done pretty well for myself, I must say.
Right.
In trying to find out different cultures, different food, meeting new people, enjoying new places. I also love traveling. So yeah, I think it was good for me that my father used to get transferred, and also that I've studied from many different cities.
Right, right. So very nice. So you've experienced many cultures, right, over the years.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, very nice.
Yeah. Yes.
Currently you're working as an assistant sales manager at ITC, right? So what is
Yes.
your job role there?
Okay. So basically, after I've graduated from my MBA from MDI Gurgaon, I joined as a management trainee in ITC Limited, and go through multiple roles where you work as a salesman, you travel to various retailers, you try to sell your products which ITC sells to the retailers. So you do all of those stint for 1 year. So I just about completed those management trainee stint, and then I was moved to Lucknow as an assistant sales manager. So if I have to give just an overview of what a typical assistant sales manager role looks like is, an assistant sales manager is basically responsible for selling of a particular category of products in a state, right? So suppose Rajasthan or UP, and ITC has three different divisions uh, in sales. So there are food products like Bingo, Tede Mede, Ashirwad Atta. Then there are personal care divisions, which has Fiamma, Vivil, Savlon. Then there is also the cigarette division, which sells most of the cigarettes like Gold Flake Classic, right? So an assistant sales manager is basically responsible for one of those divisions, and then he's given a particular territory, and basically the typical sales role where you have to increase the sales of your products. You have a team under you which works in different cities, right? So you have to manage that team. And so how do we sell our products to the end consumer? So we have distributors across various cities, right? Those distributors buy products from the company, and then the distributors sell it to the retailers, and then the consumers like you and me buy from the retailers, right? So a typical role is just to increase the sales of our products across geographies, ensuring that each and every product of ITC is available at every retailer, right? So if you and me have to buy a bingo and it's not available in a particular retail outlet, then the brand loses, the company loses, right? So ensuring sales, ensuring availability, then managing the distributors, managing their finances, managing your own team, and then fighting it out with the competition. Also, there are so many brands out there, and consumers have a lot of options. So all of these activities are basically what a job profile of an assistant sales manager is.
Okay. Okay, so basically you have to deal with most of the middlemen, right? Like the distributors, retailers, they're available.
Yes, so there are various channels, right? So
Yeah.
you can reach a consumer through a retailer, or you can reach a retailer through a wholesaler, or if it's a very rural part of, say, UP or Rajasthan, then you have to reach them through stockists, right? So there are various modes through which we can reach a retailer or the end consumer, right? So you have to look at all of those channels. How do you reach a consumer? What is the best fit for a particular geography? Say a city like Lucknow, right? It is the capital of India, the capital of UP, so you can easily reach retail outlets through distributors. But what about a very small town in UP, right? How do you reach them? You might not find a distributor, so you have to plan for wholesalers, or you have to plan for stockists. So all of those activities, also finding new distributors, finding new stockists, finding new wholesalers, right? Trying to reach each and every retailer, as many as you can.
Okay, so there must be challenges also, right, associated with this job role. So any challenge which you faced in the recent times in this particular job role?
Sure, there are many challenges. I mean, sales role, first of all, you have to get on the ground, go to market. You have to travel with salesmen to each and every outlet. You know the temperature right now, right? 45 degrees in UP. So from 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the morning to 4, 5 o'clock, you're just traveling in the market. And why are you traveling in the market? Because you want to understand how the market is, what are the things that retailers want to buy, what are the kind of products that consumers are looking to buy, how do you place your product in a retail shop. So some of the brands might be very famous, right? Or some of like Dark Fantasy, for example, famous brands, consumer want it, so it's easier for you to place that product for in a retail shop, right? But what about a variant of Dark Fantasy which not many people, or it's a new launch, right? So suppose a new variant of cream biscuit has been launched, so how do you convince the retailer that the retailer should invest his money and keep that product in the shop so that consumer are able to find it? So all of that has to be done through visiting market, visiting outlets, right? Talking to retailers, talking to wholesalers, trying to create demand for the product, right? So those are some challenges where you just have to keep on traveling in heat, you sweat a lot, right? So those are the physical challenges. Apart from that, mentally also you're looking after a huge team, right? So just an example, an assistant sales manager in ITC generally has around 15, 16 people who are directly reporting under him, right? And then those 15, 16 people, each of them have salesmen under them, right? So it's a huge team which you have to manage. You have to look at each and everyone's needs, what are their requirements. You have to look at the sales figure of each and everyone. You have to make sure that each and everyone is doing their job, and at the same time they are not over pressured, right? So those are the mental aspect of it. How do you manage your team? So those are the daily struggles that you feel, that you face.
Right. So there must be some interesting, exciting part about your job role as well, right? So what is it for you?
Yeah. So the exciting part, so it's first of all, I will say that everyone who after doing MBA wants to get in sales and marketing, right? They want to, obviously everyone wants to get into marketing. No one wants to get in sales because it's a very hard role for anyone. You have to travel in heat, sunlight, right? And it's not a fancy role, right? So, but the interesting part of it all is that you get to travel. If you love traveling, you'll get to travel a lot. So I've been to, in UP, I've been to Banaras, Allahabad, places that you might not typically see. You will not typically see, right? If you like traveling, you will probably go to Goa or some other place, right? But you won't probably travel to these places. So this is the interesting part because I like to travel. I love to travel, so I get to travel all of these places, right?
Okay.
So that's an interesting part about the job.
Yeah. So you said that you have a team under you, right? So
Yeah.
is it like how do you manage the team along with your responsibilities? So you have to make a balance, right, with there as well between your team and your responsibilities. So how do you manage that?
So I do not have much gyan about that because I'm still new. It's just been 1 or 2 months about managing the team, right? So not much gyan, but everyone has different personalities, right? Some people are strict with their team, some are friendly. So I'm more of the friendly kind of guy who doesn't scold you much, who is very friendly and nice with you, who's just trying to motivate you and trying to achieve your targets, who's gonna try to help you out, right? So I'm that kind of a person who doesn't take things too seriously, right? At the same time, obviously, you are supposed to achieve a sales target if you are given, but instead of trying to, scold someone, how do you help that person out so that he is able to achieve his or her target, right? Sales target. So I think I'm that kind of a person who likes to gel with his team, who likes to be very friendly with his team. There are no hierarchies, right? So I do not treat anyone like I am their boss, right? So yeah, typically that.
Okay, great. Yeah. So then, what, according to you, are some very needed skill sets which has to be there if anyone wants to get into this kind of role?
Okay, so the skill set needed, first of all, I think communication is very important, right? You need to, even if you are an introvert, when there's a time to communicate, you have to communicate it, right? You have to make people feel that they're part of your team. You have to make people feel that you care about them, you think about them, especially if you're managing their team, right? So these are some of the soft skills, especially communication. And especially if you are in a sales role, there will be brand teams which will be interacting with you. They will ask you how is their brand doing in a particular territory, in a particular market. So you have to be good at communication, right? So I think that is one major soft skill that is required. Apart from that, I think you will learn on the job everything else, right? Even I'm learning on the job. So it's not necessary that you have to have these skills. Uh, a little bit of everything would do, and then you can grow it out in your job. So that's about it.
Okay. So basically, we have a set of audience who will be watching this podcast, right? And a few of them are also aspiring to get into some good B schools, right? So you already being there. So can you share your experience? Like how should they prepare for their GDs or for their interviews? What did you do during your time?
Okay. So basically, I was very bad at GDs, right? Even during my engineers, I used to constantly get rejected company after companies in all the GDs. So for my MBA, for my MBA GDs, what I basically did is I basically prepared a list of 100 topics which I thought were relevant, and those could be topics which are relevant to current news or current things happening in the society or in the country, and also some abstract topics. And I just used to practice them, right? And practice not in the sense that I used to remember each and everything what has to be said, but just the key points of what has to be said if a particular topic comes up, right? So that is how I prepared for the GD, and also I tried to speak a lot in front of the mirror, right? So just try to speak in front of the mirror, just try to feel comfortable in front of a group of people. Another very important thing while being in a GD is most people, they get bogged down, they are not able to speak because there are so many 8-9 people in a GD and each and everyone is speaking. So as I said, when there is a time to speak, you have to speak up, right? You just can't be silent and you can't just think that, oh, the other person is speaking, so I can't speak. You have to, because that's your only chance. If you don't do well in GD, you are going to be rejected for that company, right? So you have to give your everything, give your 100%, feel confident. Even if you are not feeling confident, just fake confidence and just speak anything. If you're even not able to make up what pointers you have to speak, just try to speak, just try to open your mouth. Once you start speaking, you might just get to the right point, or maybe the moderator feels that, okay, whatever he has spoken, even though the points were not very relevant to the topic, at least the guy has confidence, right? At least he is able to speak properly. So if he is able to speak properly in the GD, he might be able to speak properly in the interviews also, right? So that is what I followed. I might not always had pointers of, I was very confused about some of the topics which came up in the GD. I don't know what to say about them, but then I just started speaking something on the others. And also because everyone, there are 8-9 people, so you can pick up points from each and everyone, right? And just modify your point basis their points. So you can also do that.
Yeah.
But the major thing about JDs is just be very, very confident. Because if you don't feel confident inside yourself, you won't be able to crack the GD.
Right, yeah. And what about the interviews? Like what kind of interview questions did you face?
So MBA interview questions basically come from your past experience. So if you have studied in an engineering college or a commerce college, they will ask you some questions about what have you done in your engineering, why have you chosen engineering after your school or commerce after school, right? So you should be clear in your mind. Even if you have just chosen it for the sake of it, you should at least prepare an answer and be very clear about what is it that you want to project to the interviewer. Like, are you clear about the choices or are you not? Apart from that, many questions are related to if you have work experience. There are many questions which are going to come about your work experience. So you have to be thorough with what is it exactly that you have done in your work. What is the difference that you have made? Come up with some numbers that, okay, I've grown this brand from X% to X%, or whatever. If you are in tech, you can come up with some numbers that I've completed these many projects, right, in such a such duration of time. Apart from that, there are also very many HR based questions. Why do you want to do MBA, right? What is it that you want to do after MBA? Questions like that. So just prepare those questions. I mean, most of the questions are similar. If you go through the experiences of most people who have done MBA, most of the questions you will find similar. They keep repeating time and time and again. So you have to just prepare those questions and just be confident with your answers. So that's about it for the interview preparation. Not much.
Okay. Okay, so suppose if you have to select some sales rep for your team, what would you see in them? Like, how would you judge them? Like, only through their past experience or qualification or some skill sets, or what will you say?
No, so actually, last couple of weeks ago, I've taken some interviews for sales reps, right, for internships, sales internships. So what I basically was looking for is not knowledge, right, but do you have the sincerity to do it? First of all, do you want to do it, right? Because many people just want an internship, right? Any kind of internship. They don't want to do a particular sales role in the future. So do you want to do it? Because you are wasting your time if you don't want to do it, right? Because an internship is an opportunity also to convert that internship into a full-time offer. So if you do not want a full-time offer, then why waste, right? Apply to some other company. If you are interested in finance, there were many candidates who were interested in finance but came for a sales interview. So that doesn't make any sense, right? So that is something which I look into. And then basically, is the guy motivated enough? Even if he doesn't know many things, he will learn on the job, right? He doesn't know how to sell, he will learn on the job, but is he motivated to do it? Is he excited to do it? Does he want to really do it? These are, I think, the three things that matter. Apart from that, everything can be managed.
Okay. Okay, right. So any
Yeah.
productivity hack you have for the people who will be watching this podcast? Any suggestions, anything?
Productivity hack. Not so sure, because my day currently is also just going about work. But yeah, I mean, you can just wake up early in the morning, maybe plan your day out, right? That you will work from 10 to 5 or 10 to 6 or whatever your organization allows you to, whatever amount of work you have. You can plan your day in the morning. What I typically do is I wake up in the morning early, 8 o'clock. I get ready. I do all the stuff that I want to do, right? And then I plan my day that, okay, I'll work from 10 o'clock or 9 o'clock to 6 o'clock, and after that in the evening I'll do this and this. So maybe you can just plan your day. That's about it. I don't think even I have to learn how to be more productive.
Okay. That's great, Akshay. Okay, so
Yeah.
at last, anything that you want to add which we haven't covered up in the entire podcast?
I think we have covered everything. So I just wanted to say that for anyone who is looking to do his MBA, his or her MBA, and he wants to get into sales and marketing, right? So many times what will happen is you will get hired in a company and you will want to work in marketing, but you might not get marketing, right? So most of the people have to go through 1 or 2 years of sales experience before they can go into a marketing role. So just uh, just just be clear in your mind that you will have to work for 1 or 2 years in sales, right, before getting into marketing. If you are not the lucky ones, most of them are not the lucky ones, right? I was not the lucky one who just got into marketing brands, right? So you'll have to work. So make up your mind that if you're getting yourself into sales and marketing, you might have to uh, walk in sunlight, walk in the heat, work with salesmen, sit on his bike and go to various retailers, and you will have to do the hard work, right, before you can get into marketing kind of roles or e-commerce or modern trade roles, right? So just be clear in your mind that you will have to put in the hard yards before you get into sales and marketing. And even in marketing, it's a very hard job. It looks very fancy that, marketing is all about going to ad shoots and meeting celebs. Some people have that notion, but it's actually a very hard job. You'll have to work day and night, right, to grow your brand and build your brand. So yeah, just be clear about you're not getting into sales and marketing just for the sake of it or just because you think it's fancy, right? If it truly relates to you, if you like doing that, if you want to do that, only then go for it, right? Otherwise, it will get very lonely out there.
Right. Agreed.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that was all. I think that was very good. In fact, people who will be watching it will definitely benefit from this podcast. And thank you so much, Virendra, for coming on Tuesday afternoon and honoring us. So thank you so much for your time. I know how busy a schedule you must be having, right? But again, that being said,
Fortunately, today was a holiday, fortunately. So it
yeah,
was not much hectic today. But
right.
thanks, Ritu, for hosting me in this podcast.
Right. Thank you. And again, definitely look forward to seeing you in person in future. So
Yes,
yeah,
sure.
Thank you so
We are from
much.
the same college, so yeah, please feel
Yeah,
free. If you need anything, if you want any help, just feel free to interact with me. Yeah.
sure. Thank you so much, Virendra.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.